Hello, and welcome to George's Path Through Improvisation. I'm George Tricomi. In this video, I would like to share with those who play their instrument exclusively by reading music a way to include improvisation as well, by starting with an easy pentatonic study. You can find it on my website at georgespath.com. When you get there, just click on Samples in the menu, select your instrument version, which brings up our app, and then scroll and select page 1, where you'll find a PDF. Just open it up and print it out. This piano version's 3 pages long. Pentatonic Etude number 1 with the starter rhythm page. Once you do that, we can begin. We call this video Easing into Improvisation because unlike the 3 video lessons on page 1, which are a little more in depth, this one presents a simple way to test the waters. Although this presentation focuses on the piano, it applies to all instruments. The primary difference being that pianists need to play their own background chords with the left hand when practicing with their audio tracks. All other instrument versions of the course have audio tracks with piano chords included, so if you're not a keyboard player, just focus on the instructions regarding the right hand. In this lesson, we have 2 goals. And the first is to simply play it as written with our recorded background track, right-hand melody and left-hand chords. The second is to learn to create 5-beat phrases with the right hand using notes from the pentatonic scale while playing the background chords on the left hand, along with our recorded background track. So let's get started with the first goal, and that is to simply learn to play it on its own. No background track for now, just as you would any other solo piano piece, with a steady beat at 108 for the quarter note. Once you can play it relatively well on your own, try playing it along with our melody and call and response track on page 1. It's named GX1MCR or GP1MCR if you're a horn player. It's a good track to begin with because the recorded melody will guide you and help you keep pace. I'll show you. This track begins with the 2-measure bass and drum intro. fives. After the melody comes the call and response section, but we're going to ignore it. Right now, our goal is just to be able to play it as written with the track. Once you can play it with our melody and call and response track, try playing it with our background-only track, page 1, BGO. This audio track has no melody guide, just accompaniment, and will give you the feel of playing in a combo. It starts with a 4-measure horn intro, and then goes into straight accompaniment. It's important to be able to play without a melody guide, so take the time needed to get comfortable with the background-only track. Now let's move on to improvisation. Before we get started, just a reminder to those looking at an E-flat or B-flat instrument version. This presentation focuses on the piano keyboard version, which is in the key of F. And that means that E-flat and B-flat version users will be looking at the transposed written keys of D and G. So let's continue. This pentatonic study was written using the F pentatonic scale over background chords in the key of F. It's easy to compose with pentatonic scales because they blend so well with the basic chords from their key. The basic chords used here from the key of F are F, G minor, A minor, B flat, C, and D minor. And the 5 tones in the F pentatonic scale, F, G, A, C, and D, blend with each of them. So if you stick with those 5 tones and 6 chords while composing or improvising, you can't go wrong. Before we can get creative, though, we need to learn to flow the notes of the pentatonic scale with the right hand over the flow of the background chords in the left hand, like this. All I did there was to take the first 4-note segment of the pentatonic scale and apply our scale segment practice rhythm. It's 4 measures long, and you could see it written out at the top of the page. You may have noticed that I was using a different fingering than indicated here. This fingering is what we call the run fingering, which you'll learn later. For now, we're going to use our basic fingering. 1, 2, 3, 5. 1, 2, 3, 5, 3, 2. 1, 2, 3, 5, 3, 2. 1, 2, 3, 5, 3, 2, 1. Now we're going to take the first 4 notes of the pentatonic scale and apply the scale segment practice rhythm over the background chords of this pentatonic study. In other words, we're replacing the written melody with scale segment practice. So if you're at a piano, play along with me. Right hand only. I'll take care of the left hand background chords for now. Scale segment practice is done with our background only track. So here's track GX1 BGO. Now, since the study is 32 measures long and the scale segment practice rhythm is 4 measures long, it repeats 8 times. Our goal here is to get the right-hand pentatonic scale segment and the left-hand chords to flow comfortably together before we try to improvise. Again, scale segment practice is done with the background-only track. You'll know that you're ready to move on to improvisation when you can practically do scale segment practice with your eyes closed, because at that point you'll be working from the hear-feel part of your brain. Now I'm going to keep my fingers on the first 4-note segment of the pentatonic scale and create 5-beat phrases. We'll set the metronome at 108. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. In that sample, I began by using our 5-beat starter rhythm, which can be found on the 3rd page of the PDF. There are 4 of them, but for now, we're only going to be working with the 5-beat starter rhythm at the top. Notice that the 5-beat starter rhythm is played over 2 measures and contains 3 quarter notes followed by 2 eighth notes, with the last one tied into the second measure. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Or as we say, 1, 2, 3, bebop, followed by 3 beats rest. Thinking 1, 2, 3, bebop helps us learn to create phrases that are fluid with a slightly punctuated ending. 1, 2, 3, bebop. 1, 2, 3, bebop. Just as it's best to be able to speak in clear, meaningful sentences, it's important to be able to improvise in clear musical phrases. So with that in mind, if you're at your piano or have your instrument ready, let's try some call and response with 5-beat phrases. We'll just use the first 4 notes of the F pentatonic scale, thumb, 2, 3, 5, and invent phrases using the 5-beat starter rhythm, right hand only with the background only track. I'll go first. Ready, play. 1, 2, 3, bebop. Ready, play. 1, 2, 3, bebop. Ready, play. 1, 2, 3, bebop. Ready, play. Now we'll loosen up a little bit. 1, 2, 3, bebop. Ready, play. 1, 2, 3, bebop. Ready, play. 1. You can see how the starter rhythm helps you learn to get the feel of the phrase length. Then once you do, you can loosen them up with more creative rhythms. Now with my left hand, I'm going to play the background chords of pentatonic etude number 1. And in my right, I'm going to gradually move up the pentatonic scale in segments and invent 5-beat phrases, doing call and response with myself. When we do call and response with ourselves, we call it all-you phrasing. And all-you phrasing is done with a background-only track. So hopefully this video has given you some insight into our approach, and if you'd like to try it on your own, here's a quick review. First, learn to play it as written, both hands, no track. Second, scroll to page 1 and then learn to play it with the melody track and then the background only track. Third, do scale segment practice with the first 4-note segment of the pentatonic scale in the right hand over the left hand background chords with the background only track. Then fourth and finally, using the background only track, invent 5-beat phrases with that first 4-note segment. You can begin with the 5-beat starter rhythm and then loosen it up. Then afterwards, if you'd like to look further into the course and try more samples, scroll to page 0 and play the video that introduces our sample packet. Thank you. Just open it up and print it out. This piano version's 3 pages long.